Somebody help me! He's not waking up!" The shout came from behind the diner, a small roadside place still open after midnight. Rain poured from the dark sky, soaking the cracked pavement, drumming on metal trash cans. Inside, Maya Brown, a young black waitress with tired eyes and a kind smile, dropped her dish rag and ran out the back door. She found a man slumped near the alley, half leaning against a wall. His expensive gray suit was drenched. A shattered bottle rolled near his feet. "Sir?" she said softly, kneeling beside him. "Can you hear me?" The man groaned, his breath reeking of whiskey. "Go away." Maya looked closer. He was maybe in his late 30s, handsome but pale, the kind of man who didn't belong in a place like this. His wristwatch gleamed even in the rain, the kind that costs more than her rent. "You'll catch your death out here," she said firmly. "Come on, we need to get you inside." He tried to push her away, but she caught his arm anyway. He was heavy, his body limp, but Maya didn't let go, so he muttered. "No," she said. "You don't tell me what to do when you can barely breathe." Somehow, she dragged him inside the diner, the neon "open" sign flickering weakly behind them. Inside, the night cook looked up in shock. "Maya, who's that?" "Somebody's son," she said, panting. "And he needs coffee." She sat the man down in a booth and grabbed a towel. She dried his face, his hair, his hands, gentle but firm. He blinked through hazy eyes. Why are you helping me?" "Because nobody else would," she replied simply. He chuckled bitterly. "You shouldn't waste your time." "Sir," she said, setting down a steaming mug in front of him, "I don't waste time saving people. I waste time giving up on them." He stared at her, something soft flickering in his bloodshot eyes. An hour later, the storm had calmed. The man sobered enough to speak. "What's your name?" he asked quietly. "Maya." He nodded. "Maya, I owe you my life." She smiled faintly. "You can pay me by getting home safe." He took out his wallet, pulling out a thick stack of bills. "Here," she pushed his hand away. "Keep your money. I don't help people for tips." He blinked, confused. "Then why do it?" "Because that's what my mama taught me," she said softly. "Help people when they fall. You never know when you'll be the one lying on the ground." The man looked at her for a long time, eyes glistening. Finally he stood, wobbling slightly. "Thank you, Maya." She helped him to the door, watched as a black car pulled up to the curb, a driver rushing out with an umbrella. Before leaving, the man turned to her once more. "You'll see me again," she laughed lightly. "Maybe, but you won't remember me." He gave a sad smile. "You'd be surprised." When he disappeared into the night, Maya returned to cleaning the empty diner. The clock ticked past 2 a.m. She looked at the empty coffee cup and whispered, "Whoever you are, I hope you find your way." She didn't know that the man she'd just saved wasn't just somebody's son. He was Daniel Stone, the new CEO of the billion-dollar corporation that owned her diner. And tomorrow, he'd walk through those same doors, sober, powerful, and looking for the woman who changed everything. The next morning, sunlight poured through the diner windows. Maya wiped down the counter, humming softly to an old soul song playing on the radio. Last night felt like a dream, a strange, emotional blur she couldn't shake off. The man's face stayed in her mind, the sadness in his eyes, the way he'd said, "You'll see me again." She sighed. "Probably some rich guy with more problems than money," she muttered. Her coworker, Jess, popped her head out from the kitchen. "You talking to yourself again?" Maya grinned. "Just thinking," Jess laughed. "You always thinking, girl. That's why you're still single." Maya chuckled and kept wiping. "Maybe I'm just waiting for someone who doesn't walk out on me when life gets hard." Before Jess could reply, the doorbell chimed. A group of men in suits walked in. Their polished shoes clicked on the floor, their presence immediately changing the air in the room. The customers turned to stare. This wasn't the kind of place fancy people came to. Maya forced a smile. "Morning, y'all." Booth or counter. Then her heart stopped. At the center of the group was him. Clean-shaven now, sober, and wearing a dark navy suit that screamed money. His eyes, though, were unmistakable. Daniel, the same man she'd pulled out of the rain last night. He looked at her, really looked, and smiled faintly. "Good morning." "Maya." The sound of her name from his mouth made her freeze. You remember me?" He nodded. "I told you you'd see me again." Jess nearly dropped a tray. "Wait, you two know each other?" Maya stammered. He came in last night. I found him outside." Daniel stepped forward, his voice calm but strong. "She saved me." Everyone went silent. He gestured for the men behind him to sit. "Gentlemen, I'll handle this." They nodded and took a booth nearby. Maya swallowed hard. "You're different now," Daniel smiled. "Last night I was lost. Today I remember who I am," she frowned. "And who's that?" He extended his hand. "Daniel Stone, CEO of Stone Corp Industries." Her heart skipped. "Stone Corp?" He nodded. "We own this chain of diners, including this one." Jess gasped. "You're our boss?" Daniel chuckled softly. "Something like that." Maya's cheeks burned. "So, you came here to fire me for dragging you out of the rain." He looked surprised, then laughed softly. "Fire you? Maya, you're the reason I'm standing here. I came to thank you." He motioned toward a booth. "Sit with me." She hesitated. "I'm on shift." "I think the owner can make an exception," he said, smiling. Maya sat down nervously. "You really don't have to do this." Daniel studied her face for a moment. "You have no idea how rare it is to find someone who helps a stranger for nothing." She shrugged. "That's what people are supposed to do." He leaned forward. "No, that's what good people do. And there aren't many left." There was silence between them for a long moment, the kind that feels deeper than words. Then Daniel said quietly, "You know what the worst part of being powerful is, Maya. People stop seeing you as human. You start believing it too." Maya tilted her head. "Maybe you just forgot what it's like to fall." He smiled. "Maybe, but you reminded me." As Daniel left the diner, he paused at the door. "Maya," he said, turning back. "I'll be back tomorrow." She laughed nervously. "You planning to eat here every day now?" He smirked. "Maybe, but not for the food." Jess whispered, "Girl, what did you do last night?" Maya smiled faintly. "I just helped a man," Jess grinned. "Honey, that's not just any man. That's a storm in a suit." Maya looked out the window as Daniel's car drove away. The morning sun catching his reflection in the glass. Something told her this wasn't over. But she couldn't have imagined that the man she helped would soon offer her something far greater than money. Something that would change her entire life. Forever. The next morning, the diner was unusually quiet. Maya was wiping down the counter when the door opened again, and in walked Daniel Stone. This time, he wasn't with his assistants. No bodyguards, no noise. Just him, every head turned. People whispered. Jess nearly dropped a plate. Maya froze. "You again?" Daniel smiled. "Told you I'd be back." "You really don't give up, do you?" she said, trying to sound casual. "Not when I owe someone my life." He walked to the same booth they'd sat at before and gestured. "Sit with me." She hesitated, then slowly joined him. "Okay," she said, folding her arms. "You're the CEO of a billion-dollar company. Why are you sitting in a diner that smells like burnt bacon?" He chuckled. "Because this is where I met someone who reminded me what real people are like." Maya rolled her eyes playfully. "You're too smooth for your own good." He laughed. "I'm serious. I've spent years surrounded by people who pretend to care about me. Investors, partners, fake friends. But last night, when I was at my lowest, you didn't see a CEO. You saw a human being." She looked down, her voice soft. "Everyone deserves help," Daniel nodded. "That's exactly why I'm here." He pulled out a leather folder and slid it across the table. "This is for you," Maya frowned, opening it. Inside was a job offer, embossed with the Stone Corp logo. Her eyes widened. "Assistant manager?" "At headquarters," he smiled. "Full salary, benefits, and a chance to build a career." Maya blinked in disbelief. "Is this real?" Daniel leaned forward. "You've got potential, Maya. I read your employee file. You've worked 3 jobs since you were 16, no complaints, no days off, always helping others. That's the kind of person I want in my company." She laughed nervously. "You mean you want me to leave the diner?" He smiled warmly. "No, I want you to rise above it." Jess, who had been pretending to clean nearby, gasped loud enough for the whole diner to hear. "Maya, are you serious right now? He's offering you a corporate job." The cook peeked out. "Girl, you better say yes." Maya's heart pounded. She looked at Daniel. "Why me?" He paused for a moment, then said quietly, "Because you didn't treat me like a boss. You treated me like a man." Maya blinked back tears. "You really think I can do this?" "I don't think," Daniel said. "I know. That afternoon rumors spread like wildfire. By the time Maya clocked out, half the diner was buzzing. Did you hear? She's moving up in the world. Guess saving rich men pays off, huh? Bet he's just trying to look good for the media." Each whisper stung more than the last. When she stepped outside, Jess caught up to her. "Ignore them. They're just jealous," Maya sighed. "They're not wrong. This doesn't make sense. People like me don't get chances like this." Jess put a hand on her shoulder. "Then maybe it's time people like you do." The next day, Maya walked into the gleaming glass tower of Stonecorp for the first time. Marble floors, crystal chandeliers, polished elevators. She clutched her folder tightly, her heart racing. A receptionist smiled nervously. "You must be Miss Brown. Mr. Stone's been expecting you." When the doors opened to the top floor, Daniel was already there, waiting. He smiled warmly. "Welcome to your new life, Maya." She took a deep breath, stepping inside. "Guess the diner girl just got promoted." He grinned. "No, the hero did." As she looked out at the city skyline through the glass walls, Maya whispered to herself, "I don't know what I did to deserve this, but I won't waste it." What she didn't know was that this new world, the world of power, wealth, and hidden motives, was about to test her kindness harder than ever before. The elevator doors slid open with a soft chime. Maya stepped into a world that felt like another planet. A world of glass offices, tailored suits, and quiet whispers that carried power. Every head turned, some curious, some judgmental. Her reflection shimmered in the polished floor. For the first time, she wasn't wearing her diner uniform. She was in a crisp white blouse and navy blazer, her curls neatly tied back. "Morning," she said softly as she passed a group of executives. They didn't reply. Instead, one of them, a woman with cold blue eyes, smirked and said under her breath, "Guess they'll hire anyone these days." Maya pretended not to hear. Daniel's office was at the end of the hall, a massive corner suite with floor-to-ceiling windows and city lights that made the world below look small. He smiled as she entered. "You made it," Maya smiled nervously. "Barely. I think half your staff already hates me." He laughed softly. "Give them time. They'll learn what I did, that you belong here." She sat down, still uneasy. "I'm not sure I do." He leaned forward. "Maya, don't ever think you're less than anyone here. You earned this. You showed more strength in one night than most of these people show in a lifetime." Her eyes softened. "You really believe that?" "With everything I have," he said, but not everyone shared Daniel's faith. As the day went on, Maya felt eyes follow her. Conversation stopped when she entered. When she asked for help, answers came sharp, fake, or dripping with sarcasm. At lunch, she sat alone in the company cafe until someone approached. "Mind if I sit?" It was Rachel Blake, Daniel's executive assistant, tall, elegant, perfect in every way. Maya smiled politely. "Of course not." Rachel sat down, folding her hands gracefully. "So, you're the new favorite." Maya blinked. "Favorite?" Rachel smirked. "Daniel doesn't bring just anyone in from the street. You must have done something special." "I helped him when he needed it," Maya said simply. Rachel tilted her head. "Is that what we're calling it?" Maya frowned. "I don't understand." "Oh, come on." Rachel's voice turned sharp. "You really think people here will believe some diner girl got promoted because of kindness? You're a charity case, sweetheart." Maya's jaw tightened. If believing in decency makes me naive, then fine. But I'm here to work, not to prove myself to you." Rachel leaned closer, whispering, "Be careful, Maya. People in this building eat kindness for breakfast." Then she stood and walked away, heels clicking like daggers. Later that evening, Daniel found Maya in the hallway looking out at the city lights. "You okay?" he asked gently. She forced a smile. "Just learning how cold success feels." He stepped beside her. "You'll warm it up." "You always do." She looked at him. "You think kindness can survive in a place like this?" He nodded. "It has to. Otherwise, what's the point of all this?" Maya smiled faintly. "Then I'll try." He looked at her, eyes full of quiet admiration. "You don't need to try, Maya. You just need to keep being yourself." But as Daniel left the office that night, Rachel stood in the shadows watching them. Her smile was thin, her voice cold as she whispered into her phone, "She's getting too close. It's time to remind her where she really came from." The next morning, Maya would walk into the office to find her world falling apart. Not from the storm outside, but from the one waiting inside StoneCorp. The next morning began like any other. Maya walked into the StoneCorp lobby, coffee in hand, trying to steady her nerves for another long day. She told herself not to care about the whispers, the cold looks, or Rachel's smirk that always seemed to follow her. She was there to work, nothing more. But the moment she stepped off the elevator, something felt wrong. People were huddled in groups whispering, glancing her way. Laughter, sharp and cruel, echoed behind her back. Then she saw it, on the main hallway screen, the one used for company announcements. A photo of her flashed for everyone to see. Maya sitting with Daniel in the diner, his hand over hers, smiling. Underneath, bold white letters read, "CEO's secret affair with Waitress exposed." Gasps filled the office. Someone snickered. Another muttered. "Figures." Maya's chest tightened. No, that's not true." She ran to Daniel's office, heart pounding. "Daniel, you have to see this." He was already standing by his desk, the screen glowing behind him, face pale and jaw tight. "I saw it," he said quietly. "It's a lie," she said, voice trembling. "Someone took that photo out of context. I swear, Daniel, I never—" He raised a hand gently. "I know you didn't," her breath caught. "You believe me?" He nodded slowly. "Of course I do. But the board doesn't." "What?" "They think it's unprofessional. They're calling it a scandal. They're threatening to pull contracts." Maya felt her knees weaken. "You're kidding." Daniel looked at her, guilt and anger burning in his eyes. "They're demanding you be suspended while they investigate." Maya's lips trembled. "Suspended? For what? Helping you?" He turned away, fists clenched. "I tried to fight it, Maya, but they're saying I'm compromised. That I can't be objective because of you." Tears welled in her eyes. "So what happens now?" He looked at her, voice breaking. "You'll have to take some time off. Just until this dies down." She stepped back, shaking her head. "You're sending me away?" "Maya, no," she said sharply, her voice trembling. "Don't Maya me. I stood by you when you were nothing but a drunk in the rain. And now that I need someone to stand by me, you're silent." He looked crushed. "It's not like that." "It feels exactly like that," she said bitterly. That afternoon, Maya packed up her things in silence. Every pair of eyes in the office followed her. Rachel leaned against the wall, pretending to scroll through her phone, a smirk tugging at her lips. As Maya walked past, Rachel whispered, "Guess kindness doesn't pay after all." Maya stopped. "You did this, didn't you?" Rachel smiled sweetly. "Proof? No, but word of advice, next time don't climb too high. The fall hurts." Maya's hand trembled, but she said nothing. She turned and walked away, tears threatening to spill. Outside, rain began to fall, just like the night she found Daniel. She sat on a bench, staring at her reflection in the glass tower she'd worked so hard to belong in. Her voice cracked as she whispered, "I thought doing good would make life better. But maybe people don't want good. They just want power." Her phone buzzed, a message from an unknown number. Meet me at the diner tonight, 10 p.m. D. That night, the neon open sign flickered again, just like it had that first night. Daniel sat at the booth waiting, no suit, no guards, just a man. When Maya walked in, soaked from the rain, he stood. "Maya," he said softly. "I'm sorry. I should have protected you." She crossed her arms, tears mixing with raindrops. "Why didn't you?" He took a shaky breath. "Because sometimes, the higher you stand, the harder it is to bend. But you were right. You saved me once. Now it's my turn." Maya frowned. "What do you mean?" Daniel looked her in the eyes. "I'm going to tell the board the truth, even if it costs me everything." Maya shook her head. "You'll lose your job," he smiled faintly. "Then I'll finally be free." Rain fell softly against the diner windows. Maya sat across from Daniel in the same booth where they'd first met, the place where it all began. She looked at him, eyes tired but burning with emotion. "You don't owe me anything, Daniel." He shook his head. "You're wrong. I owe you everything. My life, my conscience, my humanity." Maya sighed, looking down. "You don't have to destroy yourself just to make things right." Daniel leaned forward. "If doing the right thing destroys me, then I was never worth this job to begin with." There was silence, heavy, sacred, the kind that felt like truth. The next morning, Daniel walked into the Stone Corp boardroom. Every executive seated, cold eyes fixed on him. Rachel sat near the head of the table, smirking faintly. "Mr. Stone," the chairman said, "we've reviewed the situation. Given the scandal, we believe it's in the company's best interest that you step down temporarily." Daniel stood tall. "Before you make that decision, there's something you should know." The chairman frowned. "Go on." Daniel tapped a button on his tablet. The room lights dimmed as photos appeared on the large screen. Screenshots of security footage, email trails, and digital fingerprints. Gasps echoed. Every image led to Rachel Blake. She stood up suddenly. "What is this?" Daniel's voice was calm, cold. "Proof. You sent those photos to the press. You edited the story. You leaked it to destroy Maya and me." Rachel's face drained of color. "You can't prove that." "Oh, but I can," he said, turning the screen to show her own login credentials. "You forgot to wipe your tracks." Silence filled the room. The chairman's face hardened. "Rachel Blake, you are terminated effective immediately." She glared at Maya's photo on the screen. "You think this changes anything? She doesn't belong here. None of you see it." Daniel's voice rose, not in anger, but in strength. "You're wrong. She belongs here more than any of us, because she remembers what it means to be human." Rachel stormed out, the doors slamming behind her. When the meeting ended, Daniel turned to the board. "If standing up for what's right costs me my position, then take it. But I won't run a company that punishes kindness." The room was silent. Then the chairman spoke, his voice softer. "No, Daniel. You've reminded us what leadership looks like. Stone Corp needs that, not less of it." He turned toward the window where sunlight was breaking through the clouds. "Maya Brown is to be reinstated immediately and promoted to head of community relations." Hours later, Maya stood outside the diner once more, unaware of what had just happened. Her phone buzzed. It was Daniel. "Meet me at headquarters. There's something you need to see." When she arrived, she found him standing in front of the entire company, employees clapping as she entered. Daniel smiled warmly. "Everyone, this is Maya Brown. The reason Stone Corp still has a soul." Maya blinked back tears. "Daniel, I don't know what to say." He stepped closer, eyes gentle. "Say yes." She laughed softly through tears. "Yes to what?" "To your new role, and to never doubting yourself again." The room erupted in applause. Weeks later, Stone Corp launched a new program in Maya's name, the Brown Foundation, funding education and second chances for underprivileged workers. During the opening ceremony, Maya spoke to the crowd. I used to think being small meant being powerless, but I've learned that kindness, real kindness, moves mountains. Even the coldest hearts can change when they're shown grace. She looked at Daniel in the crowd, smiling proudly, eyes glistening. After the event, they stood outside together as the sun set, golden light washing the city in peace. Daniel whispered, "You saved me twice, Maya." She smiled softly. "No, Daniel. You saved yourself. I just reminded you who you were." He chuckled. "So, what happens now?" She looked toward the skyline, the light reflecting in her eyes. "Now," she said, "we make the world a little kinder, one person at a time." Moral of the story: kindness is never weakness. It's strength that the world often forgets. The hand that lifts the fallen may one day lift an entire world.